here in Oregon for what's our final race of the year. Now, we have tech inspection today. Tech inspection starts in like an hour or so. And then after that, we got our pre-run. That'll be about 4 o'clock or so. But pretty much all ready to go for tech. Once you put your transponder on, you need to go through the timing loop. That way they can make sure that, you know, everything works and stuff like that. So we're headed up now. We're gonna go, because we're the first car through tech, I'm gonna go up there early. I threw my headset on, that way I can talk to weatherman. They can see, you know, back in the timing and scoring booth. We'll go across, and if they need us to go back and forth several times, which they've needed before in the past, we can just help out and stuff, you know, because it gives them plenty of time. There's no pressure on them. I'll sit there and help, you know, however long it takes for us to get it right. Rock and roll. Okay, tech inspection, check. Transponder check, check. We are officially ready to go racing. This race is a 200-mile race, so that's the total distance of it. It's 49 miles per lap, so we'll do 4 laps. Throughout those laps, we do have to cross some roads, so at each road crossing, there's actually a hired flagger. Basically, will stop the flow of traffic for us. So additionally, there's also 5 checkpoints throughout the course where it would be very easy to cut the course and shorten it, which some could call cheating. Additionally, the attrition rate of this race is really high, basically 65% attrition rate. So out of 100 cars that start, 65 are not gonna make it to the finish line. That is basically due to the fact that this race is incredibly rough and rocky. I know that a lot of this course might look straight, but actually, indeed, when you zoom in, it is very curvy and filled with a whole lot of turns. So, all right, let's get to the real action now. This is race day, so it's starting to be a really pretty day out there. Had to pull the cover off of it and stuff, the locks and everything. Did a complete nut and bolt check on it this morning. Found 1 loose fastener, so that's not too bad. Just got that taken care of. The other thing is got our pit area all squared away. So all the tools out there and everything else. And I think it's pretty much ready to go. So those guys down there have the right idea. They got big ass outdoor heaters that they're using to warm up their Maverick cars. It's how you know you made it. Someday. I kind of like to get up early, get everything we need done, and that way you can just kind of like relax. Also, if you do find something, you have plenty of time to take care of it, because you never know what you're gonna find, right? You know, yesterday was the parade lap, pace lap, pre-run lap, whatever. So never know what you're gonna find after that. Sometimes stuff does come loose. Apparently last night, one guy rolled it before mile marker 3. So he barely made it out of sight and rolled it. Mind you, there's no trophy for this. Like this lap, there's no trophy. Like there's no payout, there's nothing, right? And then another guy ripped a corner off of his, basically way out like at the opposite end of the track, because this here is just a big loop. So yeah, it got a little wild last night for some people apparently. So all right, I'm gonna charge the air compressor, do tire pressures, and then I'm gonna start getting ready for this thing. So let's last year we're number 1, so this year we're gonna try and back it up with another number 1, but I kind of on time I want to race the guys in the unlimited class just to see where we'd stack up. So I think we can do pretty well. So our notes and everything else we got are on point, so looking forward to it. All right, let me get back after it. Got your towels. Okay, you have both gloves. Okay. right here, if you take that right-hand Y right there, that's pit lane entry. So we'll come into that next lap around and every lap thereafter, just because we don't have the fuel capacity to make it more than one lap, unfortunately. This whole infield section is always so much fun. The downside to it is it's all really soft and loamy, and this was all freshly groomed right before the race. So 30 cars have gone through here, and it's already this rutted. And this is just the very beginning of the race. So by the end of the race, it'd be just like slot car racing, basically. Coming out here onto this power line road, there's a huge rock right there. If you were to run wide to the right, it's so nerve-wracking, you can hardly see it because it blends in with the sagebrush. And I didn't even notice it until lap 2, and Allie pointed it out to me. This access road right here is basically the only smooth, straight stretch you have. The rest of the race is super rough and choppy. So this is one of those road crossings I was talking about where they have flaggers out there now that will stop traffic for you. They just ask that you please kind of slow down once you get, close to the road. That way, just in case something happens and they have to stop you, that you have a chance of actually stopping. Talking about this tree right here on the outside right there. So many people have smacked into that tree.
We need a better siren.
Alright, this is probably my favorite section of the whole track. It is a long, straight whoop section, and there is nothing better than smashing through a set of whoops, making you feel like Robbie Gordon or BJ Baldwin. You feel like you are on top of the freaking world. Just plant that gas pedal on the floorboard and brace yourself against it. It is awesome. That is the best way to handle a pass. I always try to watch my mirrors so that I hope that the person behind me never even has to hit the siren. I try to find a good place to pull out of the way. That way it's safe for both of us, and then they can just fly right by. There was a couple times during this race that I happened to catch somebody coming up behind us, and I just pulled over and got out of their way before they even had a chance to hit their siren and stuff, and they never missed a beat. I got to pick a nice safe place to get out of the way and stuff, and I don't think we even slowed down to under 30 miles an hour. It was awesome.
In the front, just make sure there's no coolant leaking. And then The guys next to you, the Green Razor, we owe them an apology for bumping them. So.
How you guys doing in there?
Good. No, doing okay. Yeah. No. Good.
Oh, yeah.
What?
Your bike, you bumped him from the front? Yeah, your front car's bent up a little bit. Unless it was always like that. It's pointed like almost straight up now.
Well, look where near it's mounted. Make sure it didn't get the. You got a radiator up there?
Yes.
Oh, it did push into the radiator. Check out the radiator on this side.
Oh yeah. Whatever you can do, dude.
How bad?
Dude, it's just it's at the bottom. It's right where the seam is.
Yeah.
And here's one of those checkpoints that I was talking about. So they make you slow down to 25 and then down to 5 miles an hour. This is so that they can record your number. And then they will eventually give you, like, you know, green light basically, or a thumbs up or wave or something like that, some kind of signal to allow you to, okay, go, take off again. So one thing that we've not had to deal with yet, knock on wood, is breaking down out here to where you can't finish the race, right? Like that gentleman. So once you break down, because this is a no chase race, so you can't have pit or team members come out to you. So once you break down, if you cannot fix it there, you either A, hang out with the vehicle, or you walk back, depending on how close you are, which you could be 40 miles away. So what a lot of times people will do is they will hike out to the closest road or something like that, and then just have a team member come and pick them up, and then they'll come back later on after the race is done. They'll come back and basically with a truck and trailer and tow it out, or they'll bring parts, fix it, you know, whatever, and recover it later. But because this is a no chase race, basically the machine hangs out there for the day.
Let's go to school. Got it. Hey, that's our neighbor.
You know, one of the really challenging parts about desert racing is it is a race, but it's also an endurance race. So as much as you want to go fast and just hammer down, you really have to make sure that you are there at the end of the race. You know, it's in order to finish first, you first must finish. And time again, I find myself going slow through certain areas because I feel like it is incredibly rough. And in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, I should be going faster, I should be going faster. And then we'll come around the next lap, and sure enough, someone's broken, you know, pulled off to the side of the course there because they tried to push it a little too hard. You know, we all underestimate how much the fatigue really beats on things and how much harder it is on things than we give it credit for. These rocks and everything else will rattle a machine apart, no problem. There's no better feeling than catching somebody's dust out here. Also, there's no worse feeling than being in the dust, because the closer and closer you get to that car in front of you, the harder and harder it becomes to see them. And once you're up to like that last couple hundred yards, it is so hard to see the front of your car even, because the dust gets so thick. You're basically driving off of the chase light bar on the back, and you're just judging everything based on that. You're just trying to kind of go where it goes and follow it.
pit, 39, 51 to pit, a couple miles out.
One thing that I've really come to appreciate about desert racing after coming from a motocross background, motocross is very cutthroat. If you are racing in someone's class, they will not help you at all if you need parts or anything like that. The cool thing about this is actually the guys who are helping us in the pits are actually our competitors' pit crew. So I told them, obviously, if they come, if our competitor comes into the pit, like right in front of us, priority number one is for you guys to take care of him, and I'll just stop, get out of the car, fuel myself, right? But they were super kind, very generous, and they did everything they could to help us and stuff, and went above and beyond to make sure that everything was as dialed as possible for us. So that's one thing that I've really come to love about desert racing is how much everybody helps everybody else. Remember how earlier I said we need to get a louder siren? This is a perfect case in point. These guys I talked to after the race and stuff just to apologize for bumping them, and because I was behind them for so long. And they said, they were like, oh man, was your siren on and stuff? Because they never heard it. As you guys may have seen a couple times throughout the video, there's cattle guards, which means this is, open, free-range cattle grazing land. Now, the farmers the ranchers have moved the cows off of the land. However, you always have to be prepared. So whenever you're out in these races, yes, they do everything they can to close the course down and make it a closed course. However, you always have to have your head on a swivel because you never know what's out here. Well, unfortunately, with working our way up through this person's dust, I ended up catching a rock with the passenger side rear tire in one of the ruts that I never saw it. I couldn't even see the ground half the time. And we ended up getting our first flat ever. So 3,500 miles on this one specific set of tires, and we finally got a flat. I am not gonna lie, I'm super impressed with how long these tires lasted and how well they hung out. And I'm also incredibly proud of both Allie and I for how well we did doing our first tire change together out in the middle of the desert. Not once have we ever practiced this. She's done it a bunch in the shop. Obviously, I've done it numerous times in the shop, taking the wheels off and stuff like that. But this was our first time ever getting to do it out in the middle of the desert. So, and I would say that we both worked like a well-oiled machine. Unfortunately, the GoPros ended up dying before the end of the race. So we ended up third in class, and I forget where we ended up being overall. We missed second by like a minute or so. We went to the pits, got a fresh spare tire thrown on the rack, and took off on lap 4, and within probably 4 or 5 miles, we got another flat tire. Because now we were using our spare tire that we had no spare for the rest of the lap, so I backed way off, and we just tried to bring everything home in one piece because I did not want to have to sit out in the desert for hours with nothing to do waiting for the rest of the race to end. So overall, I could not be more happy with how well Allie and I worked. Her navigation skills and calling off our notes was absolutely perfect. There were many times working our way up through the dust that I was literally doing exactly what she could say, and I never lifted off the gas. I was thinking we're either gonna smack a tree, smack a rock, or we're gonna be flawless, and she never missed one single call out. So could not be more happy with how we did. The results don't exactly show it, but overall, I think it was a good race, and looking forward to the 2025 season and building on that. All right, guys, that's all from us today. We'll see you on the next one.